books is going to the library, which is right down the hill from my street where I lived. I could walk there from quite an early age. I'd say about 7 I could walk down, and there was a children's librarian there who was magical. She knew exactly, when you walked in, she knew what sort of book would suit you and what sort of book you would like. And I loved Mary Poppins, and I would tell her to call me Mary Poppins. She was fantastic. We didn't have a bookshop where I grew up, so I don't think I ever walked into a bookshop until I was 11 years old, when I was given a book token for my 11th birthday by my aunt and uncle. And I wanted, because I had so much money to spend, I wanted to get like real value for money, so I wanted to get the biggest book I could possibly carry. So I remember going into the bookshop, it was in Lewiston, Maine, I remember the bookshop, and picking out the complete works of Sherlock Holmes. It was what, 1,000 to 1,500 pages, and I read that cover to cover when I was 11 years old, and actually it changed my life. Every decision I made after that was affected in some way. That's why I'm in England now, is because of that book I bought when I was 11 years old. I started off writing from Mills and Boon, so that's a very particular type of writing. I loved writing those books. They're really short, they're really quick-paced, they're very focused. The people who read them absolutely adore them, and if you write them, you really have to believe in romance. They are really, really fun to write. So I started out my career writing for them. I wrote 6 books for them, and it really taught me a lot about how to create character and how to write succinctly and how to pace a story really quickly. And I don't write for them anymore, although I do still write about love. It's much more complex, and I try to write about all different types of love. So when I went from writing Mills and Boon, one of the things I really had to learn was, aside from making the story much more complex and multi-layered, was to slow down my writing so that I wasn't something that would have to take a sentence in Mills and Boon could take a whole chapter, because you could explore the subplots, you could explore the settings and the relationship, and you could let yourself sort of relax into the language, which you can't do when you're writing very commercial fiction. So that, I think, is how my style has changed the most. This book, Falling, has 3 main protagonists. There's an 80-year-old woman called Honor, who isn't based on anybody I know, although she looks just like one of the models in the Guardian All Ages fashion feature. She looks just like one of the beautiful woman with long grey hair. She looks just like her. The middle character is Joe, who's 40 years old and who has 2 small children and a teenage daughter, and that is very much based on my own experience of being a mother in her 40s of young children. All of that, very much, and also sort of being squeezed, you know, being the person who never has any time for herself. That's what Joe is like. Lydia, her daughter, who's 16, is sort of based on how I felt when I was 16. She's going through some issues that I didn't face personally when I was 16, but I was a teacher for 10 years. I taught secondary school. And a lot of the things that Lydia is going through, particularly the bullying that she endures, I saw happening on a pretty much daily basis where I was teaching. And, you know, tried to stop as the rest of the teachers did. So that is based on my own experience as well, though from observing rather than feeling. Oh, so many. There are so many. I love Maggie O'Farrell, obviously, because she's just great. Another author who I'm really loving at the moment is Shelley Harris. She's brilliant. Her book Vigilante is one of my favorites this year. I'm a huge Stephen King fan, so anything that man writes, I will read, and I've read everything that he's written. Yeah. I'm just mad fan, yeah. Mad fan. I'm so excited for The Gunslinger to come out this year. And I don't even care what he writes. He can write anything. And trying to work out what his gift is just drives me mad, but he's got it. Likewise, J.K. Rowling and Robert Galbraith particularly, I'm loving those books. My sort of sister in crime and whose writing I love is Rowan Coleman. She writes just beautiful commercial fiction, and I just adore it. It makes me weep.